This is Cruise Radio.
I cruise a lot, and I always sail with travel insurance. You should too. Get a free quote today at tripinsurance.com.
Here we go.
Broadcasting from the tripinsurance.com studios in Jacksonville, Florida. This is Cruise Radio.
Hey, how's it going? My name is Doug Parker. Thank you so much for checking out this episode of Cruise Radio, a review of Carnival Breeze, and also staff writer Richard Sims with Cruise News. Jumping right to him now. Hey, Richard.
Hey, Doug.
We start with proof that sometimes cruise lines really do listen to their customers.
Look, anytime a cruise line makes a change, big or small, people react. And given that people love nothing more than to complain, that reaction is usually negative. Sometimes it's valid. Sometimes it's an overreaction. And usually these complaints go pretty much unacknowledged. You know, they raise the daily gratuity, everyone complains, and nothing happens. But occasionally, that's not the case. And when Norwegian Cruise Line made a change to their menu at Cagney's, which is their wildly popular steakhouse, like it's probably their flagship restaurant, the change did not go over well. Basically, they adjusted the menu so that your main dish came with a specific side. And this is the important part. Substitutions were not allowed. It wasn't like they were, saying, okay, this is the thing that would go well with the braised ribs, but, you can choose your own. They were saying, this is what's going with the braised ribs, and you're eating it, and you'll like it. It's kind of like your mom would do. Well, that went over like the proverbial lead balloon, and quicker than you can say, waiter, there's a fly in my soup, Norwegian apologized and reversed their decision. That's right. They reversed their decision, something cruise lines very rarely do. They actually posted on social media something saying, we listen and we don't judge. We're lucky to have guests like you who care so much about specialty dining, and we heard you. Effective immediately, sides are here to stay at Cagney's. So good news, the customer is sometimes right. It's supposed to be they're always right, but let's settle for they're sometimes right. Now, if we could just get them to bring back the potato soup. They had a baked potato soup when I first went to Cagney's. It was like the most amazing thing. It had little pieces of bacon in it. It was amazing. So I'm hoping that maybe I can convince, if you're listening to this and you're one of the people who protested the change to the menu, maybe you can also protest and get them to bring back the baked potato soup. I'll be forever grateful.
And if you're wondering why your cruise stocks took a hit over the past few days, well, we have the answer why.
Yeah, words matter, especially when they're spoken by very powerful people. So a couple days ago, the Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, went on Fox News and said that the Trump administration was planning to crack down on taxes paid, or maybe I should say not paid, by cruise lines. Cruise lines are all foreign flagged, and this has been an ongoing issue for years. Well, the next thing you know, when he basically made it sound as if they are coming for cruise lines, cruise stocks tanked. They all took a tumble. Like some went down 4%, some went down more. But several financial analysts have stepped up and said that this was a major overreaction on the part of the public to this news. They said that basically this same threat has been trotted out at least 10 times over the last 15 years. Steve Wyszynski, and I know I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but he works for Stifel Financial, and he wrote this statement to let people know that basically their position on this. And he explained that the whole situation, he said to CNBC that in the eyes of the IRS, the cruise industry is kind of part of sort of the cargo industry. So as he explained it, you would basically have to upend the entire industry, not just the cruise industry, but the cargo industry as well, before you even got to making changes where the cruise industry's taxation is concerned. In fact, several analysts have suggested that people should actually take advantage of this panic and buy the stock at its lower price, because it'll bounce back when people realize that this is sort of an empty threat, or at least that's what the analysts seem to think, and that it basically will turn out to be a tempest in a teapot. So while on the surface, there have been a lot of headlines saying that the administration is coming for the cruise industry, it doesn't really look as if this is something that is all that realistic a threat.
And another cruise ship has marked a major milestone.
That's right, Doug. The MSC World America, which is the first of MSC's world-class ships, underwent and passed sea trials last week. When I first started cruising, like a little more than a decade ago, MSC was barely a blip in the American market. I don't think I was even aware of them. I mean, I knew that they had a ship named, what is it, the Divina, and everything I had read about it was, that it was a little bit tacky and that it was different because from the American market because it was a more European approach or Italian approach to cruising since it is an Italian line. But they have actually been in the industry since around 1988. They just didn't make a big push into the American market until quite a bit later. And now they're a major player. Anyway, MSC World America is going to debut in April of this year. It'll be sailing out of Miami, carrying just over 6,700 passengers. I think it's 6,752, if I'm not mistaken. And because these days you can't introduce a megaship without some kind of like top deck attraction, NCL had their racetracks, and now they've got this new super water slide. And on this ship, on the World America, they're introducing the first over-water swing, which is known as the cliffhanger. It looks absolutely terrifying. I don't know if I will be able to do it or not, but it's certainly something different. And for foodies, it'll introduce the very first Italy at sea. And while I'm not sure if I'll go on the cliffhanger swing, I can guarantee you I will eat at Italy because that is an amazing restaurant and can't wait. So this is coming to Miami in April of 2025.
And we're ending with a cautionary tale that starts with a couple's dream cruise being canceled.
This story is definitely my favorite. It's awesome because it has everything. Intrigue, mystery, romance, a shocking twist, and ultimately a happy ending, which is nice. It's always nice when we can tell a story that has a happy ending. So the story started to unfold back in January when a couple booked a trip on the Carnival Horizon. It was their dream trip. They were really excited. But a few weeks later, they got a notification that they'd received a $1,900 refund from Carnival. And they were like, what? And it was kind of a shock because they hadn't canceled their cruise. So they call and they find out that the cruise was canceled on February 13th. Happy Valentine's Day. They couldn't rebook in the same cabin. I guess it had already been booked. So they wound up booking into a different one, but they couldn't figure out what happened. Like why the Carnival, finally, they get on the line and it turns out, let me back up a little bit. Someone on social media actually pointed them in the right direction. They posted about this and someone beneath it said, maybe your ex canceled it. And I guess, maybe a light bulb went off in the dude's head. So he calls Carnival and it turns out that's exactly what happened. His ex had canceled this trip that he was planning to take with his current fiance. So we did a little digging to figure out how this happened, and we're not 100% sure. We don't have this confirmed, but here's what we think. His ex was probably listed as his emergency contact and possibly the primary email on the account. So, sometimes we forget to update stuff like that. So, you break up with somebody, you don't think about all the different things that you've done together in the past. And, we took this. You think of the big stuff like credit cards, but you might not think, they're also still on my Carnival Cruise Line, account. Who would think that? I wouldn't remember that. So that means the ex got a notification about the cruise and was like, you're not taking this cruise. Cancel it. At least that's the best we can figure out. As I said at the beginning, though, the good news is that, we've heard stories about like this before where someone went in and canceled someone else's cruise and they don't necessarily have the best ending. But in this case, it does have a happy ending as the couple, Carnival did the right thing. Carnival reached out to them and they got a stateroom upgrade and $300 onboard credit to sort of make up for what they've been through. But it's a good reminder that if you've sailed with someone in the past and their email is associated with your account, you should consider changing that, especially if you're no longer a couple or friends and, maybe they have a little bit of an axe to grind.
What else do we have? Anything else?
That's it.
All right.
It's a good week.
Yeah.
We end on a happy note.
Absolutely. Well, staff writer Richard Sims, as always, thank you, my friend.
As always, glad to be here.
The world is constantly changing. Your place for news is still the same. Online and on demand at cruiseradio.net.
A big question we get at Cruise Radio is, how do I know if I need trip insurance? Simple answer, if you're getting on a plane, taking a road trip, or getting on a cruise ship, you need to have travel insurance. Hey, it's Doug Parker from my friends at tripinsurance.com. Not only does tripinsurance.com protect your vacation investment, but it also gives you peace of mind in case anything were to go wrong on your trip. How do they do it? They offer 3 different types of trip insurance policies. Good, better, and best. One policy for every vacation budget. But it doesn't just stop there. They're up to 40% lower when you shop around on other comparison sites. Plus, tripinsurance.com offers 24-hour customer support before, during, and after your trip, online claims assistance, and travel alerts to let you know what's going on at your destination. But find out for yourself. Check out tripinsurance.com.
Have a tip or a lead on a news story? Let us know. Email tips@cruiseradio.net.
Broderick and Tina just returned from a 5-night sailing on Carnival Breeze out of Galveston, Texas, and they both join us on the line to give a review of the ship. Broderick, Tina, how are y'all?
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, happy to have you both on the show today and excited to talk about Carnival Breeze. I remember doing the inaugural cruise of that ship back in 2012. So I don't think I've been on it since then. So excited to hear your take on it. So what we'll do is we'll take a step back and we'll get some pre-cruise thoughts. What made y'all want to take this 5-nighter out of Galveston on Breeze?
Well, my wife and I and my 2 sons, we previously was on the Breeze in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but this time around, I brought my daughter. She wanted to try the ship out. This was her first time, so that's what made us decide to try it again.
Now, are y'all based in Texas?
Yes, sir. We live in Arlington.
Is that morning of for you living in Arlington, or do you go in the day before?
Yeah, we always practice day before.
You make your way to the cruise pier for embarkation day. How long did it take you from the curb to the ship, and how smooth was the process?
Nice question, Doug. We got off the cruise parking van, took us over to Lighthouse Parking. We got off, and we made it through the line, but we had a small wrinkle that held us up in security, and I'll let my wife take over at this point.
Okay, well, we're traveling with our youngest son, which is 16 now.
Mm-hmm.
The last time we cruised, he wasn't 16 yet, and it really didn't dawn on me that he needed a photo ID this time.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't have his school ID. So, of course, they pulled us out of the check-in line, and, we had to go and figure out some different things. Luckily, he has a school portal that I can access online that has a photo of him on there. And they had me screenshot that, email it to him, and I just had to wait, maybe 30 minutes or so for them to get that email, and they sent us on through. Now, that could have been tragic, but I will give Carnival props for that, because they really tried everything they could to get us squared away instead of, they could have made it difficult, but they were really helpful.
Yeah, they could have sent you right back up north again, right back to Arlington.
and that would have been really bad. We were afraid, but they were very helpful, and I have to acknowledge that.
With that aside, was it a pretty smooth embarkation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
Now, you mentioned that you've sailed this ship before. So what were your impressions a couple of years later when you walk on board?
Very impressive ship. I love the unique decor they had on the ship.
I think the color scheme is bright and airy, as opposed to some of the other ones. It's a fun color scheme. I like it.
And what type of cabin did you book for this 5-nighter, and what did you think of it throughout your voyage?
Okay, so it's a total of 5 of us, me and my wife and our 3 kids, 2 sons and 1 daughter. So me and my wife booked a cove balcony, and the kids booked a deluxe ocean view. And if you're familiar with that room, it has 2 bathrooms. As
far as like the room being updated, modernized, plenty of space, what were your thoughts there?
Modernized. It didn't have, a lot of USBs that I would have liked to have. They do need to modernize it. Other than that, the bathroom was adequate. We had plenty of drawer space, closet space. Other than that, we were okay.
Well, let's talk about the food on this 5-night cruise, and we'll go to the Lido Deck buffet. First off, the marketplace. What were your thoughts of the food served at the buffet throughout the 5 nights, and did it ever get a little too crowded in there?
No, not necessarily. No, we did MDR every night for dinner, and obviously we hit Guys, and we hit the Carnival Deli and pizza. My kids went for pizza a lot.
The only time I would say that the marketplace was really, really packed was embarkation, of course, because no one is in their staterooms yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Other than that, the staff did a really good job with keeping the tables cleared and, moving people out of there when they were done. They did really well with that one.
What did you think of the selections in there?
The selections were good. I did notice a lot of nights. Some of our older kids don't really like the MDR. And I realized that a lot of the food that they grabbed from the buffet was actually on the menu at the MDR some nights. There's some staples that were always there, but they did change it up nightly, it seemed like.
Yeah, and I did like also, Doug, each night they put a couple of Mr. Emerald selections on there. That was different this time. Yeah, that was new for us this time.
Now, did you do any specialty restaurants during this 5-nighter?
No, sir, not at all.
Okay.
Nope.
And then what time dining did you have through this, on this voyage rather, and in the main dining room? And how were you mentioned you like the emeralds in there, but how was the service? Was it up to par for Carnival Cruise Line type service?
Yes, it was. They were up to par. We had 8:30 dining.
That's not
Yeah, no issues with the service at all.
That's good to hear. And you mentioned the pizza. The kids like the pizza out back. Now, were you on one of the sailings before they cut the pizza off at midnight and they were still serving after midnight? Or were you on a sailing where they already stopped the pizza at midnight?
We've done both of those. I believe this is our first one back where they cut off the pizza, but no one really had a problem. I believe it's like 2 a.m. So we were still satisfied.
Yeah. Nothing good happens after 2 a.m. anyway, so.
Right.
Yeah. How was the entertainment on this 5-night for y'all?
What was the name of that show?
We took in the show called Flick, but I see that one whenever I'm on board. It was really good. I believe there's a Christmas show that we didn't attend. We did go to 2 comedy shows.
Yeah, 2.
And we saw both comedians, and they were really good as well. They did a good job with trivia. There's always some trivia going on. And we did the Groove for St. Jude. They still have that.
Nice.
So I think it was quite a bit to keep everyone on board busy somewhere.
With the comedy show, the comedians, did you go to the adults only, or did you check out the PG and the adult one?
We did both.
Both of them were pretty solid?
They were both really good.
Yeah. Did you have any issues? Sometimes that ship, because that Punchliner Comedy Club on 4 isn't that really that big, and sometimes it has, I guess, long lines, right? Like going back all the way to the casino. Sometimes did they ever hold any of the comedy shows in the main theater, or were they always in that main Punchliner Comedy Club?
They actually did. We went to a PG show at the Punchliner, and I'm going to tell you that line was, way past the piano bar, like you said, almost into the casino. And so a couple of nights they put both comics together for a 1-hour show, and they put it in the Ovation Theater.
Okay.
It was so much better.
Yeah.
So much better.
Yeah, it certainly is. As far as the sea days, how were they as far as crowds and congestion?
Not bad at all, Doug. Interesting enough, I was telling my wife, this was the first cruise I've never seen the pool, so empty. The weather was not as warm as we thought it would be. So really, no, it wasn't packed at all at the pools.
If you're making your way around the ship, let's say a sea day, and going to grab Lido for lunch or Guy's Burger for lunch, were there any backups, or was it pretty well spread out through the sea days?
There were a few backups. I'd say around maybe 1 or 2 p.m. It got kind of hairy there near Guy's Burgers. And of course, they have 2 lines and everyone's trying to get what they need to get. And it was nothing too bad, though. I've seen it worse.
Yeah.
It was nothing too bad.
Well, I think it doesn't really matter what cruise ship you're on or what cruise line you're on. At lunchtime, you're always going to have a little bit of backlog, no matter what cruise line you're on, around that 12 to 2 o'clock time frame anyway. So sounds like it's the same old, same old. So very cool there. As far as the casino, now this class of ship is known for the smoke sometimes wafting out into the main atrium or down deck 4 there, or 5. I can't remember where the casino is. I think it's 5. Were there any smoke issues in and around the casino? Like, did it seep out at all?
To be honest, Doug, on this subject, me and Tina are kind of biased. There was smoke, but for this reason, we didn't really care or mind because we were participating in a slot pool.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. Fair enough.
It was not overwhelming, though.
That's good.
I've had instances where I really dreaded walking through the casino because my clothes and hair and everything smelled like smoke. But I didn't get a lot of that this time.
Does this ship have the non-smoking annex as well?
They do.
Okay.
They do. We didn't go in there, though, but they do.
How did y'all do in that slot pull?
We won a little bit.
All right.
A whopping $18, Doug.
There you go. What was the entry? 20?
25.
25. Okay. Well, hey. It's
It
all
was
about
a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a camaraderie, right? You're having a good time. You're hitting the button or pulling the arm. Yeah, there you go. The ports of call on this 5-night. What ports did you go to? What we'll do here is we'll start with the first one. Give us your port of call in the highlight, and then we can move to the next one.
Okay, our first one we hit was Cozumel, and we all did Mr. Sancho's. And the excursion we did, I took my boys on the jet skis and my daughter. Oh, actually, and my wife. My wife, oldest son, and daughter, they had good luck. Me and my youngest son, however, did not. It was his first time on the jet ski, and we were going against the waves, and he gunned it, and me and him went into the drink, man.
Oh, man. Oh, not a good first-time experience there.
No, sir.
How is Mr. Sancho's these days? They still have, like, the all-you-can-eat buffet and the margaritas, pina coladas, daiquiris, and all that? They
do. Everything was pretty much like we remembered it. Of course, don't expect the drinks to be really, really, super strong. But it's still a good time. The food was still good. This day, I believe there were 7 ships spread out between, the few ports there are in Cozumel. So it was pretty much packed. Mr. Sancho's was sold out, as I'm sure most of the beach clubs were. But they still did a pretty good job.
So I guess they cap the attendance there?
They do. And of course, when you arrive at the port and you're looking for a taxi, they ask you if you have confirmation before they even take you. Gotcha. Because there's no more available slots for walk-ins or anything like that. You have to have a reservation.
Do y'all remember what you paid? I'm trying to think. The last time I was in Cozumel, it's been a couple of years, probably like 21, maybe 22. I think it was like around $60 per person. Is it around that rate still?
68.
That's worth it. Do you pay for your own transportation, or do they do the transfers?
You pay for the taxi cab, and I believe that's gone up since before.
We paid $40 each way, man.
Oh my gosh.
For 5 passengers, $40.
They jacked that right up.
Yep.
And then after Cozumel, where did you go?
Progreso,
yes, sir.
Did y'all do anything there?
No, we shopped. Of course, we took the bus ride because that's a really long pier to get into the city. So we took the bus ride, and they dropped us off, I guess, in the downtown shopping area. So we did some walking around and did some shopping, made some good deals, and came back. But that took almost all day because you get in there and you find little odds and ends. But we did pick up a few things in the duty-free shop before we went back onto the ship. So no excursions this time.
How long of a drive is that if you're going to that, was it Plaza Del Mar, the shopping spot in Progreso?
Oh, it had to be at least 15 minutes.
Okay. Is it like the Nassau straw market where everyone's trying to like hustle you nonstop as you're walking through there?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yep. It is. Yep.
So I guess you said you picked up some items there. So did you get them down like for half of what they were hustling you for, or?
Well, yes, because I actually find that fun.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a lot of good deals on quite a few things.
So you're heading back to Galveston, and it's time to debark. How was the debarkation process, and how long did it take you from the ship to clear customs?
Well, that was pretty quick. So we usually linger because we let the folks who have flights and things like that, we let them go first. And we're not in a hurry to get off the ship anyway. We're trying to extend our vacation as long as possible. So we linger as long as we can. We're usually some of the last people off the ship. And by that time, our luggage is already waiting for us. The lines have died down and we get through really quickly. It didn't take long at all.
Looking back on your cruise here, do you have any first-time tips to offer anyone who may be considering sailing on Carnival Breeze?
Pack your patience. I'd say don't depend on cruise directors or the fun squad or anything like that to make or break your cruise, because I did hear some, I guess, unhappy folks because they felt like the cruise director wasn't involved enough or funny enough. And I'm like, this is our vacation. We make our fun.
Exactly.
I would definitely say make your own fun and enjoy everything.
Did y'all pop into the Red Frog pub at all to check it out?
Oh, we did. We actually had a meet and greet there for one of our Facebook groups. I will suggest that too for first-time cruisers. As soon as you know when you're cruising, hop on the Facebook or whatever social media you have, because there's usually a group for it, maybe, a year in advance. So you can get to know folks and participate in some of the group activities they have. It's really fun.
Yeah, we participated in a shot glass exchange.
Does this one have the guys like lunchtime barbecue?
Yes, they do.
What part of the ship is that?
Deck 5 mid.
It's right outside of Ocean Plaza.
Outside, okay. Did y'all swing through that line at all?
Yes, we did.
What do y'all?
It was not bad.
Yeah, I was going to say, what do y'all? I mean, Texas has their share of barbecue. What did you think of comparing that to back home?
Texas has nothing to worry about.
Okay. I love it. To round this thing out here, give me some final thoughts of Carnival Breeze. What did y'all think? How about one final thought from each of you?
I still love the Breeze. A lot of people talk about how old she is, and I believe she'll be in dry dock soon. But as far as size of ships, I love that they're doing the bigger ships and everything. But I really like the warmth and the feel of the Breeze. I really do. It's not too large. It's not too small. It's just right.
Yeah, Doug, I would recommend the Breeze for a first-time cruiser because she does have 4, 5, and I do believe 6-day cruising. It's good, if you have little ones too. They do have nice kids clubs on board.
We've been talking with Broderick and Tina about their 5-night cruise on Carnival Breeze out of Galveston. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your vacation with us.
Thank you, Doug.
All right, Dougie, let's see what we got for you, buddy. Cruise Radio is produced at the tripinsurance.com studios in Jacksonville, Florida. Get cruise news, ship reviews, and money-saving tips every Thursday on Cruise Radio. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the show. If you want to help spread the word, give Cruise Radio a 5-star review. Find Cruise Radio where you listen to your favorite podcast or online at cruiseradio.net. I'm your announcer,